What's up, cinephiles? For this episode, we are going to review Bad Education, directed by Cory Finley. Now, this movie originally premiered at the Toronto Film Festival last year, and now you can go watch it on HBO Go. So, Kevin, what is Bad Education all about?
Bad Education is based on a true story and it follows a charismatic and highly esteemed school superintendent, Jack Tassone, played by Hugh Jackman, and his assistant, Pom Glockin, played by Allison Janney. Now, these two got involved in a huge school embezzlement. I think it's the biggest embezzlement in the history of America, and now they have to do what it takes to maintain order and secrecy to protect the reputation of this public high school, whatever it means. Now, Phil, this really got into my nerves, but before I storm off, why don't you start off first with your thoughts?
I really like this movie. I think that this movie will be shown in the future in ethic classes around the world, as it should be, because this movie deals with ethical conundrums that really is relevant in today's political climate. I don't usually tell my political views, but I really hate corruption. You see these two characters who, well, embezzled funds from the public school system, and the way that they try to justify their actions on why they did those things. I'm with you. It also got into my nerves, and it's really sad to see that when they also tried to explain that it started with this small amount and then it ended up becoming this very large embezzlement, like what you said, the largest in American history in terms of embezzlement from a public school system. It's really infuriating, especially infuriating knowing that these things still happens. Many people still abuse their power and authority to get all this taxpayer money. Really, I'm with you. This movie also got into my nerves, but I really enjoyed watching this film.
I agree on what you said. I hate to be the person who connects films on a political level, but come on, you must be dumb not to realize the political relevance of this movie. It made me realize so much on the flaw of every institution or government per se, how institutions can be somewhat too much of a results oriented. Like in this case of this public high school, the high school has been sending a lot of graduates to prestigious college universities and they're ranked number 4. So now that they've seen the results, it doesn't matter that there's dirty work involved and they're really fine on sweeping these issues under the rug. It really feels infuriating. It is mostly reliant on the performance of Hugh Jackman. I think he found this new glory in a post-Logan career. Let me first start off with his look. We are all used to see Hugh Jackman in his Logan form with his beard, and really he has this clean cut look here that he looks charismatic, but at the same time he looks vile. As the story progresses, we begin to unravel the dirt behind his character, how he's living a double life, and later on he's actually living a triple life. And then also, I have to commend Allison Janney here. She won an Oscar on her supporting actress performance in I, Tonya. And here, she's playing a mildly maniac character and really does well to support the roles of Hugh Jackman here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but based on my understanding of the movie, her character, Pam, got before everyone else. So in a way, she's responsible on setting the tone of the institution. This is shown in the trailer. That scene where Pam is forcing to feed a sandwich to Hugh Jackman. I just found it really symbolic in a way that the sandwich or the carbs that Frank should avoid eating to represents the scene, and she's the one responsible in cultivating this environment. So I really like the performance, the subtlety, the nuance that Allison Janney brought. I also have to commend Ray Romano because this movie is really a scandalous matter, but in whatever scenes he's in, he make it seems like it's a sitcom. You know, the boardroom scenes, I really had fun watching him shake his hands in disbelief in the scope of the corruption that's happening in this institution without him having knowing it. So yeah, it really talks a big game. Like, you know, I'm a sucker for these movies when there's a tightly knit community and it serves as a microcosm of what's happening in the reality and a bigger picture scale. And I really like how they presented it, how they laid out the events that happened in an entertaining way. Feel Will, what can you say about the direction or the performances?
I agree, Hugh Jackman. My favorite performance of Hugh Jackman ever is Logan. Outside of playing Wolverine, people have to know that Hugh Jackman is a very talented actor. Case in point, I want to tell about, well, The Prestige. Just check out his performance there. I think outside of his performances as Wolverine, this is my favorite yet. He gives up this aura of being very charismatic, yet very vile. But we all know that Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney are, well, they're going to be on the top of their game. But I also want to commend, I hope I pronounce this right, Geraldine Viswanathan, who plays Rachel. Her character here is the one who ultimately uncovered this entire story. And I actually fact-checked. I took a look at the background of the actual case, and I found out that it's the students who ultimately broke this story to the entire world. And that is just incredible if you think about it, because most students, when they're in a student paper, they're mostly doing it just to get into good colleges. Really, they broke out this great story. The actress who plays that character, Rachel, really delivered, and the subplot between her and her dad is just a bit of a heartwarming subplot, and I really like that.
I'm glad that you mentioned Rachel because I really love this character too. I kind of like that the major characters are the anti-hero or the villains of this story, and the hero of this story came from a minor character. I just like what Geraldine symbolizes. He symbolizes a youth filled with indignation, filled with integrity. It's funny because when you're looking at the embezzlement scheme here, I mean, we're accountants. I've done audit work in the past, and this is really amateur work. You know what? Usually, right? Usually, when you try to mix your personal expenses with government-funded expenses, you would like to have separate receipts, right? So I was shocked in disbelief. Also, in the aspect of when they eventually uncovered these mistakes, this fraud, they ultimately decided to cover mistakes by more mistakes, which, like, in my head I am shaking. Like, I'm not gonna go into specifics on what happened here, but really a lot of here requires moment of disbelief. The framework of this movie is just based on the truth. So yeah, I'm really astounded by the events that happened here.
That accountant, really, if you think about it, he is probably one of the worst accountants ever, because he's just, where are these receipts? Don't worry about them, I'll take care of them. Well, okay. That is the worst auditor work. That's just one really bad auditor for me.
The other day, I was just rewatching The Accountant, the film that stars Ben Affleck. And in that movie, he gone crazy mad with the records of the companies, and he plotted these numbers that he's doing basically a forensic auditing. And, comparing that scene to this scene where a kid just does her own investigative journey to uncover all the dirt, it's kind of funny how everything is just under their noses, and I guess it speaks about the level of complacency.
That's the thing. One of the best aspects of this movie, and you've touched on this with what you said previously, is that despite the very serious subject matter, is this movie still has an air of humor to it. What do you call this? Persons that are just really bad at their jobs or trying to protect their self-interest comes off as funny to you, the viewers. This movie also has that going for it.
Yeah, I agree. I have to commend the dark humor touch of this direction. The story alone, this is not as complex as the embezzlements that happen in movies like Wolf of the Wall Street. The direction and the screenplay, I really have to commend for laying this as entertaining as possible without alienating any of the audience. Overall, the story didn't seem too over-sensationalized, and I like that we have a background of these characters played by Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney. We saw their family or their backgrounds, not as deep as I wished I could have been, but you really got a sense of what it feels like to be a person with vision and goals in life, but at the same time getting succumbed to a system. I guess this will also resonate to some of the viewers in a sense that if there's a person that you're really looking up to and then you discover that this person is not what he or she seems to be, the anger and the disappointment that's really being elicited from the audiences.
So all in all, Bad Education I really enjoyed this movie. The ethical conundrums that was discussed here really angered me, it gripped me, and what can I say? I just had a great time. Hugh Jackman, another career best performance from here. So I'm going to give this movie 4.5 out of 5 stars.
No, Phil, I really wish this movie will make a noise up to the Oscars. It's too early to tell for now. Out of the films released during this quarantine season, I think Bad Education definitely is the smartest movie that you can watch. It tells about how appearances are not what they seem, and also how a system and also the persons that benefit under this system cannot easily take back their old habits. There's certain gratification that you can get towards the end. So I'm happy for that. But besides from that, the performances are just also excellent. So this one gets a high grade for me. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, and that's it for our review of Bad Education. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel.
Also guys, please tell me what you think about this film if you have seen it. Tell us what films that involve embezzlement and corruption do you really enjoy. So let us know if there's a worthy viewing out there. Till then guys, see you on the next episode.